Hello, and welcome to Pat's Movie Mania. I believe we're up to Volume 4. So, let's get started. I know we're all excited about this one, and today we're going to review a couple of movies, as we usually do, a newer one and then one that's not so new, and do a top 10 list, which, if I'm not mistaken, we're up to 1981. So, first movie we saw, and actually saw this at the theater this week. It's The Devil Wears Prada 2. And it's been 20 years since the first one was out. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. All the regulars are back: Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, Anne Hathaway, and Stanley Tucci. And adds a couple newer characters, most notably Kenneth Branagh as Meryl Streep's husband. So, you all know the story. Now everybody has succeeded. Anne Hathaway's become a journalist. Emily Blunt's the publisher of her own magazine. And they all get back together and make deals and go to fashion shows, and you know the deal. It's the same kind of movie. Good though, anytime Meryl Streep is in a movie, I'm pretty much gonna watch it. It's that simple. I like Anne Hathaway also, bubbly personality. Stanley Tucci's great in everything he does, and also a crucial but surprise cameo by Lady Gaga in the movie, which I didn't know about at all. It took me by surprise. Added a little zest too. To me, still, there's nothing like seeing the movie at the theater, at the big screen. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like, but got to do it for this one, and it was good. Very enjoyable movie. Toward the end, you get a lot of fashion personalities in real life playing themselves, Donatella Versace, etc., etc., that kind of thing, and Ashley Graham, just all kinds of them at the end. And this movie, of course, if you're not familiar with it, it's loosely based on Ann Winters, the editor of Vogue magazine. And in the movie, they call the magazine Runway, but it's basically the same story. It also shows how the internet age has changed the magazine business too. What I like most about the movie, besides Meryl Streep's performance, of course, was the photography. Now, I'm not sure who the DP was on this movie, but he did a great job. He or she did a great job. There's beautiful scenery of Milan and New York. And again, on the big screen, it looks so much better. But if you like Meryl Streep, you like this kind of movie, I definitely recommend it. This is currently available at the theaters right now. When it'll be streaming, I don't know, probably a couple months, 2 to 3 months, and we'll get it on TV. But very enjoyable. Glad I went to see it. Now, our older movie, and this isn't really that old, it's from 2021, and it's called CODA. That's C-O-D-A. What it stands for is Children of Deaf Adults, and it's a great movie. Won Best Picture that year, and it deservedly so. This is a story about a high school girl who's has 2 deaf parents. She herself can hear, and her parents are played respectively by Troy Kotsur and Marty Maitland, who are deaf in real life, and how she has to deal with that. And she wants to pursue a musical career, singing career, and she's kind of torn between doing that and helping them with their fishing business. Takes place in Massachusetts. There goes our special guest, Kip, one of my cats, decided to make an appearance today. So he'll find his way out. Anyway, CODA, back to that, is a really, really wonderful movie. Very emotional. Just the thing again that I liked the most was Amelia Jones, who plays the girl in probably what was her first role. Just her singing voice is just out of this world. And I came to find myself wanting her to sing more in the movie. As it is, she only did, a couple of numbers, but you're just waiting for her to sing because her voice is just heavenly. Got a really good ending. Troy Kotsur as her father also won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this. And as far as recent movies go, well, this is one of my favorites. I really liked it, and I think you will too. So, check out CODA. It's available on Apple TV right now, and it's a very good movie. So, that finishes our movie reviews for this week. And what we're going to do now, if I can find it, is do our top 10 list. Now, this is from 1981. Now, from what I remember, and in my own humble opinion, wasn't the best year for movies, as far as I was concerned. But there were still a few good ones. As you'll see in this list, but it wasn't my favorite year for movies. And of course, it was a time when I was going to the movies probably once or twice every weekend. Back then, you can see a matinee for $2 or $3, and it just wasn't a big deal. As a matter of fact, a couple times I actually went to a matinee at 12 or 1 o'clock, then turned around and saw another one at 3 or 4 o'clock, and just spent the whole day watching movies, which was fine. I liked doing that back then. You had more time when you were young and fancy free, as they say. Anyway, let's get to the list. Enough about me. I got cats all over the place here. So, 1981, movie number 10. This is the movie that won the Academy Award that year for Best Picture, and it is Chariots of Fire. Now, at the time, I really liked the movie. Hasn't really aged well, but still some amazing scenes in it. Basically about two British runners competing in the Olympics in the early 1900s, who one is Jewish and one isn't, and they both have their respective reasons for doing what they do. And very good music, as you know. The theme from it was really haunting, and it was good to check out at the theater. Right now, this is not available on anything but a rental for the Amazon or wherever you rent your movies online. But it's worth a look, definitely. Myself, I was glad it won Best Picture. So that brings us to number 9. Number 9, a comedy. As you know, we all like comedies here. And this is Arthur, the tour de force performance by Dudley Moore as the man-child who has money beyond any of our dreams, but has never grown up. And he meets lower middle class person in Liza Minnelli and falls in love with her. And the problem is he's due to get married in like a rich kind of arranged marriage. And all of a sudden he's falling in love with this waitress, and Liza Minnelli does a wonderful job playing her kind of like a smart alecky kind of role, and just to me had some of the best lines in the movie. And of course, John Gielgud plays Arthur's butler, and he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in this also. And but Dudley Moore is the whole movie, and although a lot of his movies after this didn't quite live up to Arthur, he was just worth seeing in this for that performance. Very funny, just the perfect role for him. They did an Arthur 2 sequel, which wasn't that great, and then they remade the whole movie in, about 5 to 10 years ago. I don't know exactly when, with Russell Brand in the lead role, which was okay, but, not the kind of movie that really warrants a remake. Anyway, Arthur, and that is available on Tubi, a free service. If you're not familiar with it, it's a very good service because it's free. It has commercials, but they're not real long. And they have a lot of movies. Big selection. So check out Arthur on Tubi and enjoy it, as I did. And speaking of Arthur, Christopher Cross sings the title song, Arthur's Theme, which, you heard quite a bit on the radio in 1981. And we'll be going to see him in concert in about a month, so hopefully he'll do that. Anyway, that brings us to number 8. And this is a very underrated, little-known movie called Southern Comfort. And what it is a group of National Guardsmen who are on a weekend, what do they call operation, and in Louisiana, and they get a couple of Cajuns in the backwoods mad at them, and the Cajuns start picking them off one by one in various creepy ways. There's about 12 or 13 of them to start, and they start dying one at a time because they upset the wrong people in their area, and they're down to like 2 of them. The last 2 are played by Powers Booth and Keith Carradine, and they actually go into a Cajun village and try to make their escape from the last three that are trying to kill them. A lot of people compare this to Deliverance. You can't compare anything to Deliverance. This movie is good in its own right. It's not Deliverance, but it is good, very good. You got Franklin Seals, Peter Coyote, Les Lanham, all kinds of younger actors when they were back in 1981. Young, but it gives you the sense of that bayou backwoods kind of life that there was. There's a scene where they're having a big feast at the Cajun there, the big party down there at their barn or wherever it is, and how they go about it. They kill a pig, which isn't the best scene in the world, but you know, it looks real, and different kind of people down there. But the ending is really good. I liked it. It's the kind of ending that you see more days now. Back in 1981, it wasn't so frequent, but it was neat. I liked it. Southern Comfort is also available on Tubi, also on Roku channel and Prime Video if you have any of those. Definitely worth checking out. Southern Comfort, directed by Walter Hill. Which brings us to number 7, and this is another movie that to me has not aged well. Back when it was released, I really liked it. It's called On Golden Pond, and of course we all know that this won Academy Awards for Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn. And the story of an older, very older couple who live in New England on a pond, of course, Golden Pond, and their grandson comes to visit them, and they teach him how life is on that area in a simpler kind of way he's not accustomed to. Doug McKeon plays the boy, and he does a really good job. Jane Fonda is also in it, does a great job there too. And I think Katharine Hepburn, you know, wasn't ever a big fan, but you know, she was okay. I loved Henry Fonda in this. I wasn't super familiar with his work at the time, and sadly, this of course was his last role, as he passed away soon after this movie was released. He did win Academy Award for Best Picture, as I said, deservedly so. Really, he had never won one before, and it was good. You know, this is also available on Tubi and Prime, among others. It's always around somewhere. Directed by Mark Rydell, so check it out on Golden Pond. Especially if you're in the mood for a good love story. Which brings us to number 6, and that is Ragtime, one of my favorites at the time. This is a story directed by Milos Forman of the Yale doctoral book about life in the early 1900s of America, New York specifically. And you know, you got true stories being interweaved here with Henry Thaw, who killed Norman Mailer. Not Norman Mailer. Norman Mailer played him. He killed Stanford White, the architect, and that's part of the story about how this affected Evelyn Nesbit, who was Henry Thaw's girlfriend, and that's why he killed Stanford White, because they were supposedly having an affair. And then Henry Rollins, who plays the ragtime pianist, starts blowing up buildings because they killed his fiancée, Debbie Allen. And the problem with the movie is, after about the second half, the first half is just amazing, and then the second half kind of focuses on the Henry Rollins story, and it kind of loses some steam there. But it's still very good. James Cagney, in his last role, and his first role in ages, plays the sheriff or mayor or whatever he was, but he's always fun to watch. And you'll see an early appearance by Jeff Daniels as a policeman. May have been his first role. I'm not 100% sure of that. The one cast member who really stood out to me, and this was Elizabeth McGovern. She played a floozy kind of girl and just did a great job. I thought this was going to win Best Picture. It didn't. And again, a lot of these movies have not aged well. This one didn't. Not so much as On Golden Pond or Chariots of Fire, but it's a long movie. It's like 3 hours, so be prepared. This is only available on rental right now. I don't see it on any of the streaming services. So, this brings us to number 5. This is one of my favorite movies that satirizes the movie business itself, and that is S.O.B. from Blake Edwards, a story of a director played by Richard Mulligan who makes a bomb, and instead of releasing it, he decides to change it and make it more into like a not a porno movie, but a sexy kind of thing with Julie Andrews, and about what he goes through that, and it's just really funny. You got William Holden, Robert Webber, just all the cast is amazing. You can just go on and on. Julie Andrews, of course, is the lead. Robert Preston is in it, and it just really satirizes the movie business, which, if you know anything about Blake Edwards, you'll know why he did it. He wasn't treated real well early in his career, and this one really holds up well. S.O.B. it's called, and it is not available anywhere as far as I can see, but it will be at some point. So check it out from 1981, S.O.B., which brings us to number 4. And you're all familiar with this. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Steven Spielberg's roller coaster ride of a movie. Brings back the old Saturday matinee serials from the 30s and 40s. Harrison Ford plays an explorer, looking for the Ark, and y'all know the story. Several sequels have been made. None have lived up to this one. It's just, the movie never stops. It starts out with a romp, and it just keeps going. Never boring, always fun to watch. Special effects for their time were wonderful. Harrison Ford and Karen Allen do great work in the two leads. And this was also written and co-produced by George Lucas. So you got George Lucas and Steven Spielberg in here, so you know there's a lot of talent. And if you've never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm sure you have. If you haven't, though, it's on Disney and Paramount right now. And it's one of your better movies from the early 80s. Which brings us to, if I'm not mistaken, number 3. This is one most of you probably haven't heard of. Another underrated movie from Albert Brooks called Modern Romance. And Albert Brooks plays a film editor who is in love with Catherine Harold, and they break up, and he just has a total breakdown. And another movie kind of like S.O.B. that spoofs the movie industry. Now, Albert Brooks, of course, is an acquired taste. If you like him, you're going to love the movie. If you don't like him, you're probably not. But there's so many funny scenes in this I can't even begin to tell you. And again, Albert Brooks and Catherine Harold play the leads. There's a real funny scene where Albert Brooks' brother plays a sporting goods salesman. You may know him as Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And they have a really funny scene together. Probably the funniest scene in the movie. But anyway, I'm a big fan of Albert Brooks. I've watched all his movies. I like him. And so I really enjoyed it. This is also only available on rental. Modern Romance from 1981, directed, written, and starring Albert Brooks. So, where are we at here? We are at number 2. We're getting there. We're getting close to number 1. Cat's still in the window. Okay, so number 2 is Absence of Malice. Again, saw this at the theater as I did with most of these movies back then. And Absence of Malice is a story of Paul Newman, who's a rich businessman in Miami, southern Florida somewhere. And the local DA decides to run a piece on him, implicating him in a crime which he didn't commit, in order to get information from him. And this, of course, has a ripple effect in his life, and let's just say he's not too happy. And Sally Field plays the reporter who the DA uses as bait to tell the story and get Paul Newman name in the papers in a bad way. So you got Sally Field, Paul Newman, Bob Balaban, Don Hood. The best scene is played by Wilford Brimley, who comes in to put an end to everything. He plays a U.S. attorney, and his scene is gone down in movie history as one of the most classic ever. He just owns that scene, probably the best scene in the movie. But of course, you had a young Sally Field, you had Paul Newman at his best, and Sidney Pollack directing, who was really good director. Saw this at the theater. It was really good. Holds up well. And I'd check it out if you can. This is available on Tubi and also Roku, I should say. and it's one of your better, kind of like a, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a thriller, I wouldn't call it a mystery. It's hard to say exactly what it is, but it is good, that's what it is. So, check that out. And which brings us to number one. And this will surprise a lot of people. My number one movie for 1981 is Body Heat, the ultimate film noir starring William Hurt and Kathleen Turner. And oh my God, what a movie this was to me. I mean, everybody compares it to Double Indemnity. I've seen Double Indemnity. I like Double Indemnity. This is better, as far as I'm concerned, because it was made in an era where that kind of movie needed to be made, where you were able to be a little more graphic and show how things really were, instead of worrying about the rating. And William Hurt, one of his first early roles, first big roles, just steals the movie, but so does Kathleen Turner. It was star making for both of them. She was just the ultimate femme fatale, if you want to use that term. And it takes place in Florida, where it's real hot. It's in the summer, which hence the title, Body Heat. Ted Danson has a very pivotal role in this, and quite a twist at the end. Richard Crenna plays Kathleen Turner's husband. Mickey Rourke has a great scene as an arsonist who helps William Hurt out. And I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but this one is going to hold your attention from the first minute to the end. And again, the number one movie of the year, unfortunately only available on rental at the time, that is Body Heat. So, that kind of wraps us up for today, and we'll be back next week with a couple of new movies and the 1982 top 10 list. And we're going to try to add another feature next week where we'll preview an artist or a director and talk a little bit about them. So, until then, have a good week, everyone. Goodbye.